the regulatory speed bumps, I don't know what you want to call them, but expenses, were those known? Like, had the regulator said, look, everybody has to be compliant with this level of whatever by this date? Was that known to you what those, or was it sort of more of a moving target?
Well, it's a really interesting question because it played a lot into our exit plan. So what was known was the costs, right? We knew we were going to have to spend millions of dollars to file these very extensive FDA applications. What wasn't known was whether the products would actually be accepted, whether the
Mm,
FDA would be more of a political organization and use this to ban products, or whether they were going to be more of a scientific organization and use this to kind of study the products, analyze them, and decide which ones were actually beneficial for public health. And so
yeah,
that was a big uncertainty, right? And
got it.
so for us, that uncertainty came down to a lot of the decision around why we decided to exit at the time we did.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be huge weighing on you is like A, what's the cost? B, are we going to pass? Is there going to be requirement changes to the formula, et cetera? Where did you guys land? I know and I don't ask this question as sort of a gotcha question. I don't mean it to sound that way, but I know the vape industry went from this halo of smoking cessation and a slightly less risky version of smoking that was better for everybody, so it was all good. And then, of course, at somewhere along the lines, kids started using it because of the fancy, like the bubble gum flavor, blah blah blah, and all the different flavors. And that's when everybody went, "Oh, hold on a second, this is not as benign as we thought it was. It's, it's actually targeting kids and getting kids addicted." How did you guys stick handle that change in the industry? Did you go down the road of the bubblegum flavors and all that stuff, or did you intentionally keep away from it? Like, how did you guys think about that? And again, I asked not in a judgmental way, but just more, I think it plays out later in the FDA because the tone of the FDA changed, I think, from, hey, this is great, we're going to get people stop smoking, to, hold on a second, these guys need to be regulated. So how did you guys play that change?
No, and that's a great question, and I love that question because I think it's really important. And so the really interesting kind of shift was to the narrative really happened around 2000, late early 2019, let's say, and you started kind of having this shift where the drumbeat stopped focusing on cigarette smokers and it started focusing on vape users. And then basically around that time, you had the federal government, which at the time had won a position, right? And for frankly, all the way since back in 2015, 2014, they were looking for an excuse to kind of regulate the industry and tax it. Because what a lot of people don't know is that the vape industry is not subject to a lot of the same taxes
Oh,
that the
interesting. I didn't know
traditional
that.
cigarette industry
Hmm.
is liable and subject to. Um, Irrespective of that, what happened was you kind of heard that drumbeat escalating. And you did have, a lot of different bad actors in the industry that had no intention of filing, FDA applications. They had no intention of, you know, having proper stewardship of their products. And a lot of those companies actually effectively ended up, not filing anything. And they were just going with the philosophy and the belief system of, we're just going to keep operating until we're told to shut down. And frankly, even then, we'll just file for bankruptcy because we're going to make hay while the sun shines. And that was kind of their philosophy. The irony is that a lot of the more responsible actors that did file applications with the FDA, that did go through the process around 2019, 2020, ended up being severely financially and economically impacted by those
Hmm.
decisions. Um, Whereas the bad actors, still to this day in the United States, are still able to sell, frankly, without any type of penalty.
Hey, thanks for watching today's video. If you love today's video, then I bet you're going to absolutely love John Warrillow's best-selling book, Built to Sell. It's been endorsed by entrepreneurs such as Seth Godin, Bo Burlingham, Patrick Bet-David, Tim Ferriss, and many more. And guess what? You can grab a free copy of this book. All you have to do is head over to builttosell.com to grab your free copy today.